Ever feel like you're just drowning in a sea of apps? Well, you're not alone. In this explainer, we're going to dive into how modern businesses are taming that wild world of communication. We're talking about going from a total jumble of disconnected tools to one single powerful system.
Hi, I'm Maiko, your AI knowledge operator. My whole job is to take really complex topics and break them down into clear, easy-to-understand explainers. And today we're going to untangle the absolute chaos of modern business communication.
So, does this whole scene feel familiar? You've got messages flying around on one app, video calls happening on a completely different one, and all those critical emails? Yeah, they're just getting lost in the shuffle. It's a super common problem, and believe me, it is holding businesses back.
So, here's our game plan for today, our roadmap to bring some order to all that chaos. First, we'll talk about the communication chaos itself. Then, we'll look at a unified solution. After that, we'll get into choosing your system, measuring what actually matters, and finally, we'll cover security and best practices. All right, first up, the communication chaos. Let's really dig in and diagnose the issue. What exactly is this communication chaos, and why is it so damaging to a company's health?
Yeah, the symptoms are probably going to sound pretty familiar. You've got teams using a dozen different apps, and none of them talk to each other. This kind of fragmentation, it doesn't just lead to inefficient teamwork. No, it creates a really clunky experience for your customers. And maybe worst of all, critical information just vanishes.
Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the solution? Let's talk about the unified approach that brings some sanity back into the picture.
The solution is something called an Enterprise Communication System, or ECS for short. And the key word here really is cohesive. It's not just about having a bunch of different tools. It's about integrating absolutely everything. We're talking voice, video, messaging, email, the whole shebang into one single central hub.
And let me tell you, the benefits, they're pretty much immediate. When you bring everything together, you instantly boost productivity because people aren't constantly switching between apps all day long. It just naturally creates better cooperation and gives teams, especially remote teams, the exact flexibility and access they need to really thrive.
All right, so let's say you're sold on the idea. But how do you actually choose one? Well, this next section is all about the practical stuff. What to look for and how to actually get it up and running.
Let's break down the absolute must-haves, the non-negotiables. First, it has to unify all your core channels: voice, video, SMS, all of it. Second, it needs really powerful tools for team collaboration. Third, it has to be able to scale right along with your business as it grows. And finally, and this is a big one, it has to be rock-solid reliable. Seriously, downtime is just not an option.
Okay, next up, you've got a pretty major decision to make. Where is this system actually going to live? The two main options are on-premise, where you own and manage everything yourself, or cloud-based, where a provider handles all that for you. And this choice, it has huge implications for both cost and control. This table really lays out the trade-offs perfectly. On-premise, well, that requires a big upfront investment, what we call CapEx, but in return, you get total control. The cloud model, on the other hand, shifts this to a predictable monthly cost, that's your OpEx, and it offers incredible scalability, but you do give up some control. The key takeaway here is that there's no single right answer. A startup, they're probably going to lean towards the cloud for its low upfront cost and scalability. A bank, though, they might absolutely need the total control of an on-premise solution.
Okay, so you've picked your system, it's up and running. Great, but how do you know if it's actually working? That's where measurement comes in. So let's look at the key metrics you need to be tracking.
Let's start with the most basic, but honestly, the most critical metric of all: uptime. You should be looking for a provider that guarantees at least 99.9% uptime. And this isn't just some nice-to-have number. It is the absolute foundation of a dependable service that makes sure you are always connected. All right, now for a metric that directly hits your customer experience: first contact resolution, or FCR. A high FCR basically means your team is solving customer problems on the very first try. That's a super powerful indicator of both an efficient system and a really knowledgeable team. It's a massive driver of customer satisfaction.
So beyond FCR, you really want a whole dashboard of other key performance indicators, or KPIs. You should be tracking customer satisfaction, that CSAT, to get that direct feedback from your users. Then there's average handle time, AHT, which tells you exactly how long it takes to resolve an issue. And of course, SLA adherence, which shows if you're actually meeting your promised response times. Put them all together and you get a really complete picture of your communication health.
So, we've covered features, we've covered metrics, but we absolutely cannot forget two vital topics: protecting your data and, actually making sure you're using the system to its full potential.
Let's be clear. Security is not optional. Your system absolutely must have strong data encryption to protect information both when it's moving and when it's just sitting there. You'll want to look for key compliance certifications. Think of them like a seal of approval for security, and make sure it has role-based access control. It sounds fancy, but it just means making sure people can only see the information they absolutely need to do their job and nothing more.
Okay, if you really want to unlock the full power of your ECS, here are some pro tips. First, integrate it with your CRM. That gives you a single, unified view of the customer. Second, deploy smart call routing, an IVR, to get customers to the right person fast. Third, actually use those analytics dashboards. Dive in and find insights. And finally, use APIs to build custom connections and workflows that perfectly fit your unique business needs.
This quote really sums it all up perfectly. It's so true. In today's world, this kind of unified system isn't just another tool. It's the core engine that powers your ability to grow and deliver the kind of experience that keeps customers coming back for more.
So, what's the ultimate takeaway here? It's this. By unifying your communication, you're not just fixing a few daily headaches. You are empowering your people, you're creating smarter workflows, and you're building a foundation that is truly ready for whatever the future throws at it.
And that brings us to our final question, and it's one for you to think about. Take a hard look at your own company's tools and workflows. Is your communication system an engine for growth, or is it what's holding you back? Is it truly ready for the future?